Well, a good evening to all pro wrestling fans, especially joshi pro wrestling fans from all around the world of all shapes and sizes. Welcome to another special live edition Pro Wrestling Talk brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming. I am your host, your main squeeze, as Macho Man Randy Savage would say, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. And joining me once again is the Chase Danger himself, Brian. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from the land of the rising sun. How is it out there?
It's lovely. It is I think it's like 55 degrees in Osaka today, something like that. I don't know. I haven't been outside the hotel room yet, but that's about where it's been at. It's been beautiful weather so far. Cannot complain.
It's still technically the fall season there, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's definitely not as cold as um it was when I got here last year. Like last year,
Okay.
I got here probably a week later than this, so I'm expecting it to dip a little bit, maybe. I don't know. I've been going out with it. I see these people bundled up out here. Um, it always gets me when I go to Japan, where I feel like I really need to go in the summer. I keep hearing about these crazy hot summers in Japan and like to avoid it, but that always is from people who live here, and I'm thinking they just can't handle heat or something. Or it's me because everybody's out there bundled up and I'm sweating every day when I'm putting a coat on out there. I have to keep taking it off a lot of places. So,
Interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
that's interesting because I tell you, when we were at Dream Queendom
Mhm.
2024, that evening when we were hanging out afterwards, man, it was frigid. Like,
Oh, it was cold.
cause I had on a heated jacket and everything, and I had electric hand warmers. So,
Yeah.
man,
You,
but
yeah, you and me were freezing. And then Jacob's out there with shorts on. Shout out our buddy Jacob with his shorts.
I don't know how he does it. I really don't. I mean, just
There's always that one guy. That's him. He's that guy.
indeed. Well, it is awesome that you're having a blast in Japan, and for those that have been keeping up, the plan is hopefully next year I will go there for round two myself. I know Brian's been there multiple times. I got to catch up to him. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I'm
have to
still a
keep
newbie.
booking trips, bro. Catch up.
Indeed. So tonight on the menu, the 15th Goddesses of Stardom Tag League is finished. Whew, it feels like November just through this tournament fairly quick. But it's all over. We have reached the aftermath. December 1st is here, and probably the 2nd for you. It's time to go over some highlights as we have now entered into the final road to Stardom Dream Queendom 2025 to close out the year of 2025. I want to start off just kind of a general. Our winners, Sakurara, who are the current Stardom New Blood Tag Team Champions, Aya Sakura, Sayaka Karara. Let's just go right into it. Overall thoughts of them being the winners, and then we'll kind of dig more into it.
Well, so and it's something that got brought up, right? That maybe considering Shuri's match being at, you know, Wrestle Kingdom
Mm-hmm.
against Saya,
Mm-hmm.
looking at the connecting the dots and stuff like that. Um, as some of you may know already, Saki Kashima got hurt
Mm-hmm.
during the match. During the block finals there. And that put her out. So I'm wondering if the plan wasn't for Shuri and Saki to win this. I think that does make sense. because that would give Shuri some kind of high profile match at Dream Queendom as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then also has that option on the table where if they were to win the tag titles, if they plan on putting the IWGP on Sayasama as well, it's not as big of a come down for Shuri. She's got something immediately to go into, which is tag title run, right, with Saki.
Yes, absolutely.
So to me, I think that there's a strong chance that might have been the plan, because otherwise, I really question the booking here, what's going on, because nothing against Sakuraba at all. Great tag team,
Mm-hmm.
great as individuals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, super over, both of them, but you just put the New Blood tag titles on them.
Mm-hmm.
They won their match to win this tournament over the tag team champions.
Yeah.
And now they're going to face the tag team champions again.
Yep.
And it feels like they were not supposed to actually be the winners of this tournament. And if they were, it feels weird. Like I don't feel like they plan to run that match back to back like that. Something just doesn't seem like it makes sense to me. I have no idea how this is going to go, but I don't expect that. If I had to predict right now, I don't expect them to win the belts at Dream Queen. I think they're gonna take the loss. But I think if it was Saki and Shuri, I think potentially you had the chance at the title slipping. But hey, I could be completely wrong. Just a feeling.
That's pretty fair. Especially considering, you go all the way back to the beginning. Like they lost their first two matches. They lost their first two block matches, and then their first victory, technically their first victory, was a forfeit because Suzu couldn't compete due to poor health. And you know, putting that plus the fact, as you mentioned, Saki Kashima getting injured in the final block match, which that match ended in a draw. It definitely it definitely seems like Sakurara wasn't planned, maybe so much as to make the playoffs, but necessarily the fact that they were the third seed, and because Saki and Shuri were out, got bumped to that second seed since they had the tiebreaker over Gorilla Trigger. But I think what really stood out to me when you really think about it, this is the second year in a row that the Cinderella tournament winner has gone on to win the Goddess Tag League the same year. Because last year it was Hanan Wingori, and now this year Kurara Sakurara. So it's like that. Plus, we now have both sets of tag champs gonna go at it at Dream Queendom. It just
Yeah,
seems really weird.
and I'm kind of, as I'm sure I know a lot of fans are, I'm very fatigued with this multiple belt holder thing in pretty much
Yeah, I'm there
almost
with you.
every company, because it defeats the purpose of creating new titles and having other titles. The whole reason to have other titles is to be able to use those titles to raise the value on shows for people who are buying tickets, right? Like,
Agreed.
oh, hey, we have another title match on this show. There's a title match at stake. Hey, we can, it's also to be able to elevate more talent.
Agreed.
But instead, lately, Mercedes Mike, and other people, it's been like we're putting a bunch of in Saya. It's Kamatani, right? It's like
Right.
we're putting multiple belts on people, and in a lot of cases, people who don't need even more belts to elevate their star power anymore because they're
Right.
already stars. And then when you do something like this, like, okay, you gave them the new blood tag belts, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they immediately go and win Goddess League and then win the Goddess tag titles, what is the point in them being new blood champions? like
Exactly.
like who's gonna come close to touching them, right? Because it's obviously these belts are supposed to be an upgrade. Why have both at the same time, because then I feel like they have to lose the goddess titles before they would go lose the new blood titles. They're not going to lose to a young upstart random team before they lose to like, a top tier
Right.
team. That's usually how that happens. So then what you do is you take all the mystery away whenever there's a new blood show and they're defending those belts, which those are the focal point of new blood shows, is those tag team titles. For people that don't know, that don't keep up with watching new blood shows, it's the only title that's on there usually.
Yeah.
And that's what headlines the shows. The show is built around whoever those champions are.
Yes.
And if you're going into those shows thinking, if they're the goddess champs at the same time, well, there's no chance of them losing these, it kind of takes away the intrigue, and it's not as interesting to kind of go see those shows, in my opinion. Anyway, every fan, things hit different, but it certainly diminishes my interest when that's the situation. I think too many belts on too many people right now, where it's 2 belts, 3 belts, 4 belts, and it's almost like a virus. It's going everywhere.
Yeah, it has definitely picked up quite a bit just over, I mean, really over the last 2 or so years when you really think about it. And it's like, with Sakurara, because I mean, you got we got a Christmas New Blood show coming up before Dream Queendom, which I'm under the assumption they're gonna defend the New Blood
Oh yeah,
tag titles there.
absolutely.
So it's like,
They're not losing. Like it's like
yeah.
they're something. So that was my point. Like I have tickets for that show.
Oh, nice.
Um, yeah, got the tickets for that show. Uh, in spite of the fact of just walking out of the tournament finals and saying like, well, I guess whoever they're wrestling that night, they're going over for sure. Not that I would have thought that they would lose the belts quickly, but you know
Hmm.
what I mean. There's always the chance. It's in play depending on who they face off against. But now it's like there's no chance whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and it's nothing against those two. Me personally, I like Aya Sakura. Like out of the two, I like her the most. I definitely get dig her gimmick, and although part of me thinks at some point she's gonna go to God's Eye, but that's just me. But I do like the team. I will say that. I just feel like them kind of coming together, considering Aya was built for a good bit as a singles wrestler, being a former Sendai Girls Junior World Champ.
Mm.
Carrara having the big storyline with Kamatani after winning the Cinderella tournament and getting a red belt opportunity, and then just kind of putting those two together. Which, and I know you had mentioned that they were a possibility of at least making the playoffs to a degree. Um, I just honestly feel like with the path that they had, I mean, going through beating the mega skyscrapers and then turning around and beating BMI 2000, and just it's surprising. It's really surprising. And then of course, oh yeah, beating Gorilla Trigger
Twice.
on
Didn't they?
paper.
Did, didn't they beat them the other day? Like, and they framed it like it was this big upset.
Yeah,
Like that's what got them into the playoffs basically, and then they beat them again. And I was like, man,
yeah,
how many times does Ida have to, you know, dominant went from what, which is something I expressed the last time we got together, was that I was terrified that with Hanan on the shelf
mm-hmm,
and with how the company protects B Priestley, being she's like one of her only foreign talents, and because of her status and being a former World of Stardom champion and everything, right?
yep,
Um, that Saya was going to go back to being a pin eater, and unfortunately, it's because she's my favorite. It seems that way, where it's been like she's been taking quite a few questionable pins. Now, yeah, they're setting up something for her that we'll get to in a bit, I'm sure.
yes.
But
Oh, we will for sure.
but it just kind of it stunk seeing that. Like I was like, well, thanks for tossing them in there, and then they took another L. Like we couldn't have done a count out, something a little bit different. It was just another, like, I don't know. It's all in all, this tournament to me was in comparison to last year, it was very disappointing.
Okay.
On paper going into it, I was pretty excited. I started off watching every match, and then about three-quarters of the way through, I got busy with trying to pack and travel to get out here and everything, so I missed a couple shows.
Hmm.
But it wasn't like overall, it did not blow me away. It felt very much like a lot of the matches were kind of going through the motions and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, there were some very good storylines that I felt like developed throughout the tournament. And I'll get to a couple of those things. I don't want to kind of repeat myself. Um, in those like categories, I gave you them all over of like what we thought of like certain people in the tournament. So when you decide you want to fire those off, there's a couple things I'll bring up in there that I really really liked. But overall,
Hmm.
it felt flat.
Yeah.
Um,
I definitely agree, and I actually have these up and ready. Enigma, welcome to the stream. Says, "What's up, peoples? What's the topics? And hope everyone's having a great day." Did I miss the talks about O2 Line having another bad tag league run? No, we're just getting started for the most part. Kind of going through the intro and talked about the winners a little bit. So you're good timing. But let's dive into the topics in regards to this tournament. So the first thing, standout performance. What team impressed you the most? I'll go first. So the two teams, and I really broke it down to two from the Red Goddesses and two from the Blue. So for the Red Goddesses, um, have to definitely say Aquastella. Being that you have the storyline with Mei Sarah, Yuna Mizumori, did pretty dang on good together. Um, I definitely, at first, I was kind of meh about the idea of putting them together, but when you factor into storyline and the potential chemistry they actually have teaming up, like for example, when they took on, when they took on Dos Locos de Mexico, that ended in a draw. That was a very exciting match, especially considering who the other team is, which
mhm.
mm-hmm.
I mean,
But
who are they? We don't
it
know.
it was a it was a very exciting match. Um, and then I have to say, being that they made it to the playoffs, Mi Vida Loca, Bozilla, and Akira Kuragane, and just really, and I understand how it's easy to make the assumption that Bozilla had to carry the team, but it was good to see Akira get a few of those pins in those wins. So I was really happy to see that. So those were the two that stood out the most for me on the Red Goddesses. And for Blue, I mean, gotta say Mega Skyscrapers for obvious reasons of the combo of Hanako and Megan Bain, and it's just I had a feeling they were gonna bring that back up, considering we had those two teamed up with Micah in Vegas in the main event of the second Stardom show, which is like I've said before, that's like a cheat code. Having those three together on one team is insane. So even though they didn't win, the fact that they pretty much dominated a good percentage of their block is impressive at that. And then the second team, even though they were kind of, bumped into the playoffs for, unforeseen circumstances, I actually have to say Gorilla Trigger, being that when you think about B Priestley's history and what she's usually about, the combo of her and Ida was never really on my bingo card, but oh, they made it work. They actually made it work. And just even from their entrances together with Ida giving her piggyback rides, it worked so well, and I never would have thought it would have. So those would be my four teams. If I had to pick one out of those four, it would be honestly Mi Vida Loca.
Really? Okay. Um, so for me,
Hmm.
I'm gonna tell it, it's funny because we had a bit of an opposite on that one. The
Oh, okay.
team that the standout performance wise, this was tough for me because I'm one of those anal people where I have to feel like I have to see every match to give it a fair assessment, and I did miss a couple nights there, but from everything I did see, which was most of it, got a little guest host there popping in.
Oh yeah. Hey Gigi.
Adorable. Um, so yeah, I honestly I'm gonna go with Sakurara,
Okay.
actually as the standout performance because I think that whether they were supposed to win or not, uh, initially if that was the plan or it wasn't the plan, they delivered. They very much delivered in all of their matches. Um, there was an intensity there from them, the struggle of them, trying to overcome and everything, and in most of their matches.
Hmm.
I may not agree with what the end result was and stuff like that, booking wise, but in terms of what they showed as far as a team, to me, they were to me the standout team of the tournament. So like, I feel like going off of performances and stuff like that, the right team won. That was actually, you know what? I'm sorry. There was a team that I would put above them.
Oh, okay.
Um,
What you got?
yeah, there was a team I would put above them, and it didn't, it didn't jump at me right away, and I almost kind of forgot because it's not a regular Stardom team, right? And that was Sare and Miku.
Oh, T Hearts.
Um,
Okay.
yes, because here's the thing, and this is just a criticism that I had like of this tournament, how
Okay.
I felt, right? Where I said, remember I was saying it fell flat for me.
Yes. Hmm.
It felt to me like there was not a lot of intensity in a lot of these matches for being a tournament. A lot of the times it didn't feel like there was any sense of urgency to people wanting to pick up points or being upset that they didn't pick up the points. Sometimes they felt like just a random tag match that was coming out there for a house show and there were no stakes involved. It did not feel like they were really like going at it, going hard, right? And quite a lot of the matches that I saw, they were just kind of like, all right, get the next match out there, and whatever.
Hmm.
That was just what I got. Now, with one exception,
Okay.
every single time that Sare and Miku got in there, and then whoever they got in there with, they had to either match that intensity or you were going to get steamrolled, right? So, and this is a common theme with Sare. If you get in the ring with Sare, you better be ready to get hit. And you
Yep.
also better hit her back because if you don't hit her back, it's just going to be a bad night for you, right? So every time they got in there, I felt like I got my money's worth. Didn't matter who they were up against. Match was one of the best matches on the show. So to me, definitely them. But also, I feel like Sakurara, they definitely delivered in all of their matches too. Just maybe not as intense as those two, but I mean, it's sorry. That's a very crazy high bar to try to meet
Yeah.
intensity wise. Um, so then I'll take this next one first.
All right. Oh,
Over delivered.
Enigma
Oh,
says
we got a question.
I thought Bozilla and Akira were gonna win the whole thing. Interesting. Okay.
What I would have liked it.
I mean, it
I'm
would have
sorry.
been unique.
Yeah, it would have because and it's that was the perfect segue because the next category was what team was the biggest surprise, what team over delivered,
Hmm.
and that team for me was Bozilla and Akira. I much like what you were just saying. I thought it was going to be, and I said this when we did our preview. I thought it was going to be Bozilla going out there,
Hmm.
um, dominating, but then somehow Akira would get in the ring,
Hmm.
which was, we saw it. She's begging for the tag, begging for the tag. Bozilla kept being hesitant to tag her. Like, I kind of got this under control. Just chill, and then would tag her in, and she would lose. And that's what the early theme of the tournament was. And I was like, man, kind of hate being right. She's just gonna eat pin after pin after pin,
Hmm.
and that didn't happen. She had one of the best stories of the tournament. Um, she got the rub from Bozilla, finally, gaining her respect and admiration at the end, saying like, "Nah, you know what? Like, she wanted that approval." It reminded me of, for anybody that saw the New Japan Junior Tag League a couple years back, where it was Desperado, where
Yeah.
Watto kept wanting Desperado to wear his T-shirt. He got shirts for them and this and that. Wanted him to put the shirt on. Desperado was like, started off like, I'm being forced to tag with this guy. I don't want to have anything to do with him. But by the end of the thing, he had the shirt tucked into the pants, and it was cool, right? So it
Yes.
reminded me of that. It was like this person, this lost puppy, that just wants the recognition from like their big sister over here. This big brutal person who shows no emotion and doesn't care. And when she finally gave it that and said, "Hey, you did great today. You
Yeah.
didn't just do good, you did great, and gave her the hug and everything." And that was honestly, for me, the best moment of the whole tournament. And I'm a big Akira fan. I saw her scrimmage before she even made her pro debut, and then I saw her pro debut live both last year. And immediately I was like, "This is that's my girl. She's like going to be a
Okay.
favorite." I knew it early on. I must have a type with the Joshis that I really become a big fan of, like Kagetsu, Rana. Akira fits that mold. The short hair, the badass, the not afraid to throw some tough strikes and mix it up.
Oh yeah.
Always loved that style, and it was awesome seeing them perform. And for Bozilla, for as green as she is, and we all forget sometimes just how green she really is, only being a couple years into this.
Hmm.
Her, sometimes some things you can't teach is the charisma. She might be a little green in ring, but her whole connection with Akira and the way they built that story throughout the tournament, it was one of the more interesting things
Hmm.
that was going on the whole time. So yeah, to me, definitely they were the biggest surprise, because I just thought it was going to be endless pins for Akira.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a solid pick. That's definitely a solid pick. Um, for me, I actually have to give it to the winners, Sakurara. I definitely felt like they over delivered because honestly, I never would have imagined for them to have gotten to the playoffs. I honestly thought they were going to come up a win short of making that third seed. And it's like, and like I said, I definitely like the combination, especially, I'm more for, Aya Sakura. But I really felt like they were going to come up short. But you look at the teams that they were able to beat. I mean, Gorilla Trigger. I mean, they beat my team, the Reiwa Tokyo Towers. And they beat O2 Line, which some may say may have been kind of an upset considering how long O2 Line have teamed up. But necessarily record wise, O2 Line is not that strong record wise. Um, I really would have loved to have seen what they could have done in the match with Bloody Girl School, which, they got the forfeit victory over. I really wanted to see that, being that I was already very high on the idea of Suzu and Rina Yamashita teaming. So that's the one regret that I have with Sakurara, but I definitely have to say they're the team that over delivered for me. Oh,
Yeah, under delivered. You want to start off with this one? Who do you got for this?
One quick comment from Enigma. He says, maybe this is minor to me, but I didn't like Miku pinning Ano. Should have had Sari pin Poi. Gives Sari more reason to look down on Poi. Thoughts on that?
100% agree. 100% agree. A couple reasons, right? One, all right, let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody believes that Saori has one iota of a chance against Kamatani at Dream Queendom, as is, right? Um, I just don't see it happening. I don't see there's any scenario where Saori wins over Kamatani. Um, and this made those odds drop to below zero. I feel like, unless they're really trying to throw people off the scent and do a complete shock, but I don't think so. And having Miku pin her really just kind of, sorry, right now to me looks like a lame duck challenger as is.
Mm.
That didn't do anything to help that situation. So yeah, I think that Sare pinning Poi would have definitely added more fuel to that fire. And yeah, 100% agree. That's a really good point.
So I definitely see the long-term storytelling between Sari and Poi, but I'm gonna throw this into the mix. Do you think there's a chance that we get Oz Academy Sari at Dream Queendom, considering the fact that Hate have feuded with Mayumi Ozaki's group in Oz Academy?
Hmm. Okay. So that's that's a that's a that's an interesting one. Um, okay. So I'm trying to think of a good way to draw a comparison to this of why I don't think they would do that.
Okay.
If this was on a smaller show, I think yes, you would get that.
Oh, okay.
The
Interesting.
reason being, Dream Queendom, much like, let's say this is like WrestleMania or Wrestle Kingdom or a big show like that, right?
Hmm.
You get a lot of casual fans.
Yeah.
You get a lot of first timers. You get a lot of people that are lapsed fans that are, a lot that don't necessarily follow other companies. And to do that at a show like this with no prior buildup, unless they build this up somehow properly first, if she just comes out, you're going to get a pop for sure, but it's going to be from all the hardcores that know what goes on in Oz Academy and they know about all that, right?
Hmm.
But your vast majority of the audience, I think, is going to be confused. They're not going to understand what's going on. What is the context to this? If, let's say, Maya Yukihi or Mayomi Ozaki were to show up, for some people, who the heck are these people? Why are they here? What does this have to do with anything? I thought she's Cosmic Angels. I just started watching this. I'm confused. So I think a big show like that, you're not going to do that. I think if this was like a Cork and Hall and she's defending the title because Cork and Hall brings that it's all the hardcores that go to Cork and Hall and sell those buildings out, right?
Makes
It's
sense.
it's like it's like the ECW arena type deal, like
Hmm.
so there I see that happening and I see it working and I see it like being crazy, right?
Hmm.
And then you have a big brawl around the whole building and everything else. I don't think they would do that at Dream Queendom.
That's
Um,
that's actually
it
a.
would be
Oh,
awesome,
go ahead.
but I don't see it happening. Yeah.
That's actually a good counterpoint, especially considering, I mean, Oz Academy isn't, you know, easy to get a hold of, like,
No.
streaming
No.
service wise or anything like that. So, no, that's a fair point that you made, because, while thankfully I did get a chance to go to an Oz Academy show, and I highly recommend, for those out there that have never been to an Oz Academy show, jump on that. They're
It was
amazing.
great.
Was how I met Kohaku and Itsuki Aoki. Um,
Mm.
but no, that's a good counterpoint. That's a really good counterpoint. But yeah, Korokon Hall more fitting. Ryo Goku much grander stage. Okay. Let's see. Okay, team that underdelivered. Biggest disappointment. Okay. So for me, I had to really think this one over for a bit, but there were three that came to mind, but I'll go ahead and say the first two, which aren't the lowest, but of course, Blue Flame, which is Hina, Rani Yagami, and Reiwa Tokyo Towers. Those are two honorable mentions. But I would have to say the one that underdelivered, considering they won two matches last year together, I gotta say it. Reckless Fantasy, Wakatsuki Yama and Rion, who went winless this time. Um, I would have honestly thought they were gonna play spoiler for at least one match,
Yeah,
but that didn't happen.
yeah,
So I would have to say they're at the very bottom of who I believe tremendously underdelivered. Most disappointing though, being that Reiwa Tokyo Towers didn't make the playoffs. That was a big disappointment. For those that don't know me, I'm a big Ami Sourei fan, as well as Shuri, but Ami Sourei's my girl. They didn't make it. Big disappointment. But ultimately, the team that underdelivered for me, Reckless Fantasy.
okay. So for me, like, I was looking at this category from the standpoint of like what I saw in ring,
Mm-hmm.
less than like from booking standpoint, but like booking standpoint as far as like victories and where people went in the tournament. Um, Blue Flame, as you know, I was predicting them to do something interesting with them because of the year they both had,
Mm-hmm.
and that didn't happen. So that was a letdown for me. I don't think that they weren't performing because they were. I do think that they could have turned it up a notch and really made some kind of a statement, even in loss. But it kind of felt like the wind was out of their sails a little bit because they didn't give them really anything too much interesting in this tournament. Um, and that was sad to me. I almost would have rather seen them have like because they had that rivalry throughout the year. Almost would have rather seen them because we didn't get it really with May and Yuna.
Mm-hmm. Good
A
point.
complete like breakdown where some miscues, some stuff like that, and then they end up at each other's throats, grabbing each other's hair, like, in face, like, and set up something for Dream Queendom
Right.
just for the, you know, just for the vibes, man, because they beat the heck out of each other every time they wrestle each other. I wouldn't mind seeing it again. And if we at least got that out of this, cool. But we didn't. We got pretty much nothing. They were an afterthought, and that's sad.
Yeah.
So definitely there's that. But the team that I had down for this as what team underdelivered, and this was for me in ring and stuff like that.
Okay.
And you might hate me for this one, but it was actually Bloody Girl School. I
Okay.
thought they were terrible. I thought they were absolutely terrible, and here's why. And this is just an overall criticism of Mi Vida Loca in general.
Okay.
I was talking to our buddy Kevin about this the other day in the state of Stardom's units and stuff like that. Mi Vida Loca was formed off of Suzu not wanting to be in, Neo Genesis and all this poppy, we're dancing, we're doing this, whatever.
Right.
I don't get down with that. I'm deathmatch girl. I want blood. I'm nuts, this and that. And she had this brutal, brutal, one of the best matches I saw all year against May Sarah, right?
Okay.
Knockdown, drag out, amazing match. Bozilla comes in a hood, altering the outcome of a match.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ha ha ha, look what we did.
Yes.
Everything they were doing was very heel leaning, right? Stardom had the opportunity to have a second heel unit, one that doesn't revolve around 18 people jumping in matches with various weapons and stuff like that, doing House of Torture-esque type stuff, even though I love hate. I don't trust me, I don't have a problem with hate.
Right.
But it's just like, you got the Tupperware bin over there that Ruka has. You got the gimmick spray from Konami. Rena has a whip. Natsuko has a pipe. There's all kind of stuff going on, right? And then they'll do their run the train deal where they all, attack someone in the corner in the middle of matches, which that dates all the way back to Oedo Tai, and that's fine. It is what it is, right?
True.
Hate's my favorite unit. It's cool. But to have a group of girls
Mm-hmm.
who truly don't give a damn, that are just badasses, that will take chairs and beat you up and get bloody and, bloody you and everything else, and just kind of, what's the name of the group? It's Me Vita Loca. I didn't see too much crazy life going on. I saw two women going in there doing a ha ha he he gimmick of doing their pose and trying to get other people to do it. It turned into Koguma almost out there with the bear pose, with them doing
Dang.
it. Was I'm serious. I was expecting them to go out there. This is Rina Yamashita, Deathmatch Amazonas, right? This
Yep.
is Crazy Girl Suzu Suzuki, and I felt like it was the Pixar version of them. They were not dangerous at all. They were there, and that's about it. And they wrestled like everybody else, and that's about it. And I heard laughter from the crowd during some of their matches, and that's what I got. And that is not what I wanted out of them. I was expecting them to go in there and run roughshod over people and turn this into brawls and have a different look to their matches than what the other 5, 6 matches were on the card. But they didn't. It was another tag match on the card. Suzu, if you
Dang.
ever hear this, you disappointed me. You're the crazy girl. I want to see crazy. I want to see like some chairs, some something. Like be a badass. They're just another babyface group now. Between that and the wholesome interactions between Bozilla and Akira, which I did like. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, I loved it.
Yeah.
But they watered them down almost immediately. It's like they debuted one way, and it's like, oh, look what this group is, right? And I
Yeah.
was looking forward to the inevitable showdown between them and Hate of who is more vicious,
Yeah.
right? And now I don't see that even being a thing.
Dang. He put them and Koguma in the same sentence. Dang.
They were goofy mode, man. They
Oh
weren't giving
man.
me the violence I crave out of that team, like what I expected.
Oh man. Enigma says, I've been saying this, make me Vita Loca this deathmatch GCW like faction coming out with weapons, give Akira brass knuckles and just and honestly, you're right, because I like the members of the group. I think the members in the group are awesome. I
It's
mean,
fantastic.
Bozilla, Akira, Izuki, um, Suzu. I definitely like the cast. It just, like you said, like I want to see craziness. I want to see like death match mode. I want to see them just take it times five over what we usually see Hate do. You know what I mean? Like,
You know what I mean? It's Stardom, right? We're not going to get like blood all the time and stuff like that, and like these girls aren't going to get carved up. And I don't want to see that, to be honest. I'm not a big like death match, so I'm not. But just some chairs, some stiffness, some go in there. Like we don't give a damn about you. Don't pal around. Like there's too many cards where they're putting Mi Vida Loca alongside people from another unit in multi-person matches
mm-hmm.
because maybe Rina and Itsuki aren't there and they don't have enough members yet and stuff like that. I don't want to see that. I want to see them be their own thing. Like if Suzu stood 10 toes down on she didn't want to be in Neo Genesis and this isn't for me and I got to do my own thing, then your group needs to be a far departure from that, not adjacent,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what they are. They're adjacent. They're just not dancing or anything, which neither's Neo Genesis really. So I mean, what's the difference? It's
Yeah, they've turned it down a notch on like the dancing and whatever.
yeah.
Although I
Like,
do,
why do I feel like Starlight? Why do I feel like Starlight Kid has more of a nasty streak than anybody but Bozilla in
that
in Loca, in terms of like, you know what I mean? Like she grinds her heel in people's face before she does the one move. Like she's dressing, brighter and all that stuff and whatever. But when Starlight Kid needs to mix it up, she does. They seem very muted. I don't know. I guess that's
yeah.
the last I'll say on that.
Enigma says, "Ooh, how do you feel about this?" Enigma says, "So two things. One, make me Vita Loca like the Death Riders, maybe. And secondly, Rina and Itsuki being freelance definitely did damage to Suzu's vision and what the faction could have been. Thoughts on
Mm-hmm.
those two?"
Yeah, I mean, the Death Riders thing is a pretty good type of comparison, even though we'll get flamed for mentioning Death Riders and like Stardom in the same sentence or whatever. But no, I mean, like, yeah, just a badass group that comes out there and like, you know what I mean? The bell rings. We're not smiling. We're not doing whatever. We're gonna smile in the fact of the carnage we're inflicting or whatever. But like, go out there and just be badasses and not get along with the other groups and make a statement. I want to see Suzu be more forceful. They just seem like they're having too much of a good old time. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Instead of like being tough and caring about the wins and losses and whatever. And it was just like, Rena, I'm used to seeing her a lot. And yeah, she adds, a bit of like humor into a lot of her stuff sometimes and whatever. But I've also seen her come out there and like she's just kind of like I don't know if you were at the show where she fought Owie at the
Mm-mm.
JTO show
Mm-mm.
in the death match. I mean, there was no quarter asked, there was no quarter given. She went out there and she was beating the tar out of Owie. And whether there's blood or not, that's the Rina Yamashita I want to see in Stardom. There's enough girls doing all the other stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's just kind of they're not standing out. That's the thing. It's like what makes them stand out other than they're just dressed differently, and that's it. Like I want to see the intensity. If Sare is going to come walking in there and bring it,
And it's interesting you mentioned that because Enigma says, in terms of Bozilla and Stardom, I should be seeing the same Bozilla I saw face Sari in Marigold.
yeah, we get glimpses of it.
Yeah, we do.
Um,
Yeah,
we
glimpses.
definitely get glimpses of it. I mean, I feel like Bozilla hasn't changed that much. It depends on who she's in the ring with. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because she's very green, and that's the thing. So it's you get a lot of that when she's in there with Sare. Sare's a awesome. She can make anybody look good. B, when she's in there with Bozilla, it a lot of it deteriorates into who's going to hit each other the hardest,
Yeah.
which you can't do that with everybody. You can't work that match with Saki Kashima or you know maybe Carrara or somebody like that. Like Bozilla's got to have a different match with different people,
Hmm.
so you can't get that all the time. But yeah, I mean we saw it in the tournament when they stepped to each other, which
Yep.
I guess brings us to the last category is favorite match. So
All right, you got this one first.
yeah, my favorite match was that Bozilla and Akira winning their match to advance when she then turned around and said to Akira afterward, you did awesome today. You were awesome. Like that was my match of the tournament. I felt like that was that right there was everything I wanted. There was all the intensity and just what I felt like was missing in a lot of the rest of the tournament.
Good
That's
one.
that's the best way I could put that. Like that was what if and I mean not every match had to be as good as that one, but for that match to have uh you know you got Sare and whatnot, and then you got that, but like nobody like three people that are kind of green
Hmm.
in the match, and to me that shouldn't have been something that hit that well in comparison to a lot of the other stuff when you had people that are much more experienced and much more experienced in tournaments like this and everything else. But that one had everything I want in it. Hard hitting action, great ending, underdog story. You had it all.
Good pick. Really good pick. And Enigma says, yeah, you're right. It does depend on who she faces with, and it's wild to remember that Bozilla isn't this powerhouse prodigy, but actually a green wrestler. So yeah, I agree. So
Yeah.
for me, and you probably have an idea of where I'm going with this, but I am
Mm.
gonna die on this hill one way or another. But
All right.
my favorite match, and I feel like it's definitely going to get revisited at the right time when all of this goes over. And that was in Koriyama, the Within God's Eye battle between the Reiwa Tokyo Towers and an ex-con of Shuri and Saki Kashima, when back and forth for almost 13 minutes, even with the comedy bits from Kashima, but seeing God's chosen big girl pin Shuri after hitting her with the like a thunderbolt, I'm just patiently waiting.
I mean, that match was made for you, so I'm not shocked by this one. So
So Okada, once all this has wrapped up, I need you to pull the trigger. And this is under the assumption that I'm hoping Shuri retains at Wrestle Kingdom, but make it happen. These two have only faced each other twice, and they haven't faced each other one on one since 2022. Mr. President Okada, make the match. Oh man. Um. So another tournament related question I want to throw in there, which kind of a two-parter. First off, how do you feel about the idea of the champions in the tournament? And what would you like to see for next year, or what would you like to see different or improved over this year's tournament?
so I think the champion should always be in the tournament because I think like one, you set up possible other challengers, stuff like that through matches. Also, generally speaking, to me, if you're going to do a tournament, you want your best possible matches, right? And usually in companies where there's a high work rate in ring, usually your champions are one of your better teams. And to remove them from a tournament that people have to sit through watching night after night after night of matches and to rob them of one of the best teams in the company being in the tournament, I don't think makes sense. So I think the champion should always be in the tournament. I know it creates a conundrum of how you book them and whatever, and but that's the booker usually finds a way to make them win enough matches and finds an out for them,
Mm-hmm.
and it's never been a problem for me. Also, you can always have the champions win the whole thing and nominate a challenger or have it be one of the people that beat them within the tournament that gets a shot at them. It's there's plenty of ways you can go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's a must to have champions in the tournament, especially when there's only one champion in a division. It's a little bit different when it's like, you know, uh, sometimes where you have like the G1 or whatever, and then there's like five different champions in there. But even with that, you can set up interesting title matches and what have you. But for Goddess League, yeah, champs definitely in. What would I change for next year?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Maybe the timing of it a little bit. Maybe not have it so close to Dream Queendom. And I don't know if that's something logistics wise that they can do. But if there is a way to scooch it a little bit further away from it, because here's my reasoning with that, right? I don't think that you need to have the winners of this automatically be the team that goes in and challenges at Dream Queendom. I think you could set something else up and you can have that match fairly quickly after the tournament or what have you if you need to. But
Mm-hmm.
what I think it would allow for is for everybody to go a little bit harder. Because I think, if anything, I think it felt like maybe the reason why some of these teams weren't going as hard is
Mm-hmm.
because they have other stuff coming up, like Dream Queendom,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't want injuries before that event. So it may have been a directive from management to go out there, have the matches, but don't like kill each other because you got this coming up. And for my money's worth, when it is a tournament, I want to see the intensity, and I didn't see it. So I think maybe moving it a little bit away from Dream Queendom maybe might enable that to happen, or I don't know. It just maybe not. But that's one. And then the other thing is maybe bring in uh, a couple more outside teams and either expand the field a little bit, just a wee bit. I'm not talking a lot. I'm talking maybe another one team in each block,
Hmm.
um, or get rid of some of the random thrown together teams and bring in two like outside teams, some established teams from the freelance ranks or from another company if they can, just to have purely from somebody who's for the viewership,
Hmm.
getting to see some matches that you wouldn't normally see. You get an opportunity to see an outside team like, obviously, I'm just throwing a team name out there, and they won't be around anymore when this comes around next year. But imagine having Team 200 kilogram in there.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or, and I mean, also impossibility because of Marvelous doing stuff with Marigold right now and whatnot. But imagine Spark Rush in the tournament,
Ooh.
or just
Or Bob Bob
Red
Momo
Energy.
Banana.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or Red Energy. All right. You know what I mean? And
Ooh.
for any of you guys out there watching this and you only watch Stardom or whatever, and you haven't heard of any of those tag teams, look any of them up and just immediately go watch pretty much any match they're in, and you'll see what I mean. But like, I feel like you bring in people like that,
Hmm.
they're already going to do their normal thing.
Yes.
Um, I think it's going to raise everybody else's game because you're not going to want the outsiders that come in to steal
Right.
the show every night. You know, although I did kind of feel that that didn't necessarily happen this year with Sare and Miku, because Sare and Miku were killing it every night, and there were some people that were just kind of like, not seeing. I would have taken it personally. I would have been like, wait a minute, they can't come out there and be killing it in the ring, and I'm just kind of taking it easy. I gotta step my game up.
Yeah, and being that I've gotten a chance to see Miku Kanai wrestle separately, because she competed at Ribbon Mania last year,
Hmm.
which was a great show. Even had her own section for meet and greet. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Um, so quick comments, and then I'll give my take on that. Enigma
Hmm.
says New Japan Pro Wrestling and Stardom have done some damage to champions in tournaments. Normally, I enjoy them, but I believe you shouldn't have the champs in the finals. Come close, but don't hit the finals or even win the tourney. Um, he also says I would have moved Goddess Tag League to either between like September, October, and Spark Rush and Goddess Tag League would be beast. I would agree. I would definitely agree. I was thinking, I actually like the idea of Goddess Tag League in October, mainly because you still give the ladies a break. Because 5 Star usually ends near into August, so you give them the month of September to kind of recuperate. I mean, you still have your shows, your Cork Hall shows, maybe go to Sendai and Osaka and all that. You reset, and I'd say you run Goddess Tag League in October. It gives you that extra month of road to Dream Queendom using November, where you can have another setup pay per view in November and then cap it off with Dream Queendom. So I would suggest Goddess Tag League in October.
Hmm.
Um, Another suggestion, and I would love your input on this. So we had 16 teams this year. How would you feel about 20 next year to give an opportunity for outsider teams to be a part of both blocks?
Yeah. I'm not opposed to it, or like I said, even if we do 18, you know what I mean? Even if we do nine. per block. It doesn't have to be a, there's because then if you do that right, you can book it where somebody gets a night off each night. You're rotating somebody out because you have an uneven number of teams,
Hmm.
so you're giving somebody a rest. You can have them go out there in like a trios match or something, or a quick three-way just to get them on the card if you want to, or you just don't book them and give everybody a rest night, so that way they can go harder when they do have their matches.
Yeah. I honestly wouldn't mind if they did it sort of similar to how New Japan does some of their tournaments. How they'll have one day for just Block A, and then another
Yeah,
day just for Block B. You know,
yeah,
give them that break. And I mean, if they want to do the opening day with a combo of both, I guess they could do that. But honestly, I wouldn't mind just doing okay, opening day, okay, Block A, you're the focus, and then the next day, Block B, you'll be the focus, and then just do like every other,
yeah.
and those are going to be the main focuses of your shows for that month until completion of the tournament. Just pretty much just like how they did uh, for this year, doing it all in November. I think if they do that, but just do it in October, same way, pardon me, same way, it gives them that extra month. If they want to do another pay per view, they can. And I think it would work out booking wise and also time gap wise.
Mhm. Hey Jason, I gotta go off mic for just off screen for just 1 minute. I don't know if anybody else has got any questions. I'll be right back.
Yeah, we'll be here. We'll be here. Take your time. But yeah, I definitely that's those are good suggestions as well, Enigma. I definitely think Spark Rush in the Goddess Tag League would have been good. I would have loved Brian mentioned Red Energy, Miyuki Takase, Mika Wata. I think they would have been a really good special guest. Um Honestly, being that she's already competed in a 5 star, I would not be against the idea of Ty J in next year's Goddess Tag League. I mean, Anna Jay has already competed in a 5 star. Um, Ty Mello has already competed in one Stardom show. I would not mind having Ty J in next year's Goddess Tag League. As a AEW team, I wouldn't be against that. Heck, I mean, in all honesty, you could bring anybody from AEW into that type of tournament. Heck, Willow Nightingale. You could put her in the Goddess League or put her in the 5 star, just from experience. So those are some other suggestions I would throw out there. Oh, you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
So I was also throwing out some like future suggested teams. I know you mentioned Red
Oh
Energy.
yeah, I heard everything you said. Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
heard yeah.
What do you think about Ty J being an idea?
Um, I personally, I don't care for them too much in ring and stuff like that. So like, it wouldn't really wouldn't be anything that would excite me. But if they wanted to send Jamie Hayter and Queen Aminata over,
Oh, okay.
well then now we're talking.
Shoot.
That's Jamie wants to do another Stardom run at some point from comments I've seen. So that would be a good way to do it.
And I am so glad I took your advice on the meet and greet with Jamie Hayter. It was totally worth it.
She's awesome.
Yeah. So,
Tomodachi.
yep. And
She's cool.
she definitely wants another tour in Japan, and I hope she gets it. I really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So, another thing I wanted to talk about as we have now entered into the final road to Stardom Dream Queendom 2025, which will take place at so far my favorite venue that I've gotten the honor to attend. Ryogoku Sumo Hall, December 29th. So, I'm so glad you're here for this part.
Mm.
So, on the finals show, we had a little face-off moment. Um, so
Hmm.
after the 8-woman tag, Stars, God's Eye, with God's Eye on the winning side, we had a little face to face with Ami Sourei and Saya Ida, of course, before Konami had to come and ruin it and spray paint their faces. But
While they stood there and did nothing, which
yeah,
was it's another story altogether.
yeah, which was weird. It's just like, really, y'all are just gonna like.
Yeah, didn't care for that, but
But this sets up a number one contenders match for the Stardom Corcoran Hall show December 8th, as Ami Sourei will take on Saya Ida. Winner will challenge for the Wonder of Stardom Championship, currently held by Konami at Dream Queendom. So, a few stats I want to mention. Saya Ida is 0-2 in singles matches against Ami Sourei. This would be, if Ami wins, this will be the third attempt on her challenging for the white belt, which, first two times were against Saya Kamatani and against Saori Ano. Saya Ida has never challenged for this title before. So, with all that being said, Brian, how are you feeling about this?
well, I feel like Ami was the monkey wrench that they threw into this. Um, Kind of almost last minute, it feels like. And this is why I say this. The minute I saw Saya beat Konami in a trios match,
Mm-hmm.
she pinned her during the tournament
Mm-hmm.
in a non-tourney match, and immediately it went to, well, I don't know what Hanan's actual injury really is, but the way it was framed, from what I understand, when she went out, was that Konami put her on the shelf. Is how they were. That's what I was told, was that there was a story beat in there that Konami took her out, right?
Gotcha.
And if that's true, the way this very much looked when Ida got that pin was that Ida would get the title shot at Korakuen Hall, lose, and out comes Hanan and challenges Konami for Dream Queendom. That's where I think this was going. I don't think Hanan's ready to come back. So what they're doing is turning this into either a three-way, or Ida will win, finally get that big win over Ami, right? She hasn't been able to beat before,
Mm-hmm.
but fall short against Konami. And then Hanan will come out at Dream Queendom and challenge Konami for as yet undisclosed whatever event is coming up next. Maybe a Supreme Fight that's taking place in Osaka in February.
Yeah, February 7th.
February 7th, yeah. So that's that's my take. That's what I think is happening. But I have no idea. I don't really feel strongly one way or the other that, oh yeah, we're definitely getting a three-way, or yeah, we're definitely getting. I don't think we're getting. I think we're either getting a three-way or we're getting Ida versus Konami. I don't think we're getting Ami versus Konami one-on-one, because I don't think it fits whatever narrative wherever they were going. That's just. But could be wrong.
So, kind of on a trolling side, I think Ami's gonna beat the crap out of Saya. But on a on a for real serious side, I definitely feel like, in all honesty, I think there is a good chance that Ida does win just to finally get that big title match. Ida has been there for a long time. Ida has put in tremendous amounts of work over her career. Just seeing how she's grown and how she's gotten to the level that she's at now, and getting a chance to meet her. I mean, she's a bundle of fun. Um, I think having this opportunity at Dream Queendom, I think it fits her. I really do. Whether she wins or not, I think it definitely fits her. She's long overdue. Um, Heck of a tag team partner for obvious reasons, but it would be nice for her to have this opportunity, considering I was even impressed when she was trying to go for the high speed title because she's not one that really fits the high speed narrative, but she made it work. She adapted. Now, when it comes to Ami, deep down, I think they're ultimately going to reserve her for the red belt title picture. I am still believing the idea of her winning a 5 star. Next year would be awesome. It might be in 2 years or whatnot, but I do think that Ami is going to be reserved more for the red belt picture. So, to be honest, while I would not hate the idea of it becoming a three-way at Dream Queendom, I think Ida's going to get it. I really honestly think Ida's going to get it.
Yeah, I mean, one way or the other, I think it's. I didn't like the execution of it, of how they set it up, but it's going to be interesting. I'm ticked that you know, I'm in Osaka, and of course that's the match that's happening at Korakuen next week, and I'm like, man, do I pay for a Shinkansen ticket to just go there and just to see that match and come back? Um, that's a lot. It's a lot of money. And I think if the other shows that I went to delivered what I was expecting, a little bit more of the tournament
Mm-hmm.
shows, I think I would be more apt to do that. But I think I'm just gonna try to catch it on Stardom World when it happens, and not go insane and go all the way there just to head back to Osaka afterward. Um,
You could actually do
so,
that in a day?
oh yeah, yeah. Shinkansen's like 3 hours. I did it before, but
Oh.
the time I did it before, I had the JR pass thing where you pay and you have it for like 7 days or 14 days, depending on which tier you get, and you can just
Oh.
ride specific Shinkansens back and forth as many times as you want. And it made sense at the time. I was in Osaka years back,
Mm-hmm.
and Brooks was going for the KOD against Takeshita at Corkin.
Ah, okay.
And it was during the afternoon, and I was like, man, I'm going. And I jumped on there and went. Um, saw that amazing card, and then even got a little greedy because I was like, oh, there's a wave show and Takumi's on it, and let me go to that show. So I went to Shinkiba and caught that. And there was a photo that I took of Takumi where she was on the top rope with all the streamers and everything, and I wanted to gift it to her. Like, I got one printed out and I brought it to her, and she had a pretty big line at the end of the show, and I waited to give that to her, and she was real happy, and like, I was like, oh, for me, what, this is great. And then I left and ran out of there and was like, all right, let me catch this train. And I didn't read the fine print, and that's when I found out it's only specific ones at specific times.
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't another one that night, and in I got stuck in Tokyo for the night. I had to grab another hotel, which sucked because the very next day was Kagetsu's retirement show, which was the whole reason I was out
Ah.
here in the first place. And that was in Osaka. So I was in panic mode because I was like, oh God, am I going to get there? This is going to get screwed up. But so, yeah, you definitely can, you can go. And even if a show ends at like 9 o'clock, whatever, especially if you're not handcuffed by the JR pass or whatever, and you're just paying for a Shinkansen ticket. Oh yeah, there's Shinkansens that run, midnight. So you're good.
Oh, see, I did not not know that.
Yep.
Oh, snap. Breaking news.
Oh boy. What we got?
Sari is confirmed will compete at TJPW's Grand Princess. Wow.
What? That came out of nowhere.
Wow.
Okay.
I believe this will be Sari's first Teach show?
Yeah, I don't know that she's ever done Tej before. She's just showing up everywhere. Okay. Who she's
Well,
gonna beat the snot out of him? I nominate. I want. You know, I would love to see her versus Miyu Yamashita.
oh. 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 That
Like,
would rock.
like that would stand on its own. You don't need a title. You don't need anything. Just sorry, Miyu,
Yeah.
and just give them like almost 30 minutes and let them go ham.
I'd be all for that. Oh, I would
I will.
totally.
I will buy that for whatever. I need to
So,
see that match.
so now that we're on the road to Dream Queendom, I mean, looking at the schedule for this month, I mean, there's not a crazy amount because I mean, they have a big break until the 8th. That's when the
Yeah.
next show is. So they have a decent sized break.
Yeah.
Um, they do have the year end Christmas Eve show at
Hmm.
Korakuen Hall, and then of course they have New Blood, the final New Blood show of the year,
Yeah.
the day after in Shibuya. I mean, we only have what, two matches so far booked?
Yeah. You know, this is another thing that I was talking to Kevin about the other day is
Mm-hmm.
the lack of build to Dream Queendom. Um, it's almost like it's crazy, right? Because like to draw the parallel, Wrestle Kingdom, right? We didn't know Tana's opponent up until recently, and I'm sure there was any number of, depending on who you believe, things going on behind the scenes with all of that. But on the strength of Tana's retirement, they had sold 20,000 some odd tickets without any opponent being announced. It didn't really matter. It's Tana's last match. People are going to come out. I almost feel like Stardom is resting on the laurels of Sayasama being such a big crossover star now that the booking has kind of slid out the window, where it's like,
Mm,
eh, we don't have to hype up much for this show. People are going to come just to see Saya Kamatani, regardless of what we do.
right.
And I think it's extremely lazy. And I think Taro Okada has kind of slipped a little bit with some of his booking. I think also to give him, to be fair, Momo's out, SLK's out, Hanan is out. Now Saki Kashima's out, right?
Yeah.
Now, a couple of those people might have not played any kind of big plans into the grand scheme of things. But once again, I do think it was probably going to be Saki and Shuri in the tag title match.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you had to pivot there, right? So maybe that messes you up. Maybe the plan was Hanan for the white belt, and that didn't happen. So that messes you up, right? And maybe
Right.
you were playing a wait and see there with that. Maybe you were also playing wait and see with Micah because she's been out and didn't know how soon she would be back. All right.
Right.
Which we also, if for people who didn't show up, see, she turned up unexpectedly at the finals there. But yeah, there's not much time left to go, and there's not a lot built.
Right.
There's not a lot of stories going into this to set up big matches. I feel like the last 2 years, because I went to Dream Queendom Live the last 2 years, and both of those shows, um, even when you had the situation of the whole Tam thing with Tam getting injured and them having to pivot and everything with the whole
Mm-hmm.
world, the World of Stardom picture and having to have the Suzu Micah for the belt.
Right.
That was still, even though, he took lemons and made lemonade, right? Everything was great. It was fantastic. They pivoted, and it was a stellar card and everything. Last year, amazing show. Everything was well built for the most part, right, for that show.
Hmm.
For this year, I don't know. We've got Saya versus Sorry, which, like I said, because of the Wrestle Kingdom announcement, I feel like it's a lame duck match. Like, I
Hmm.
don't feel like there's any way Saya loses. I don't feel like New Japan would allow that to be a thing where she's going to lose on that show and then walk into Wrestle Kingdom. It's supposed to be a big deal
Hmm.
if she had just lost on another show.
Right.
Um, so there's that, and what else do we have? We got Konami presumably against whoever wins this match.
Yes.
So that's the wonder of Stardom, right?
Right.
Uh, what we were both talking about and predicting of May and Yuna getting into it at during the course of the tournament somehow, and the team falling apart, and them having one more go for the high speed
Hmm.
did not materialize.
Right.
Feel like that was an easy home run. They didn't do it. And unit wise, there's not any real like unit beefs going on other than hate versus everybody. Unless I missed something. Like,
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's been. And it's interesting because something that had been mentioned, like just as I was talking among friends, is supposedly the idea is Saya to be on this mega reign with the red belt until she beats Io's record, which, her record's 14 defenses. Saya's at 7 with Dream
I was
Queendom.
14. I thought it was 10.
That was
Damn.
her first reign. Her first reign was
Okay.
10. Second reign was 14.
Oh my God.
So,
Okay.
of course, presumably number 8 incoming at Dream Queendom, because I agree. I don't see Sariano dethroning Saya. And then the whole narrative being that, I mean, Saya's on this, she's been on a roll. I mean, she's been a double champ twice this year alone, with the red belt and, the strong belt and the red belt and the Regina de Wave title until she finally lost it to Kohaku. She's been on a roll. And, her being on what was it, the first televised Joshi match in Japan in like 20 years or something like that. I just have this feeling that they're just gonna continue to just add on to her more and more. Because the thing is, I mean, even with Wrestle Kingdom turnout, she's gonna have that red belt regardless. And being that the red belt isn't on the line at Wrestle Kingdom, I think that's apparent. But to be honest, I don't see her losing that red belt until, I'll be honest with you, All Star Grand Queendom. I think she might have it that long.
Easily. Easily. Um, the whole thing with her getting on other television programs and stuff like that, and her being a big, just media star for them right now. Um, it tracks, right? That, you want to keep that person at the forefront because at the end of the day, this is a business and they're trying to make money.
Yes.
And the way she's packing them in, the only thing I don't like is if that's the case, right? And she's just going to keep beating everybody and everything. Well, then when they're shoehorning her into these single matches on some of these shows on the undercards, just to make sure that they pack the house, because I don't know. I heard somebody say something like that. If people find out she's not on the card, they sell their tickets and stuff like that. That sounds crazy to me, but whatever. But if that's the case, when she's wrestling the MM Ashimas of the world, she shouldn't be getting almost pinned with 2.9 counts and too many hope spots, and to the point where it's like it doesn't feel like she's dominant enough against some of the very much undercard people of the company to go on that historic of a title run.
Mm,
You know,
I see.
like I was somebody that, and I don't know if you saw these matches back when, but it reminded me of like when Io was, Io, and she was
Oh,
there, and there was, um, can't think of her name right now, but it was like either Fabi Apache or Mary Apache's daughter was there.
oh,
Um,
Mary Apache or
no, no, no,
oh,
like
Fabi Apache. I'm sorry.
one of their it was one of their daughters
Okay.
debuted in Stardom. She wasn't there for very long. Like she started off there, wrestled a few matches, but her first match uh was Io, right?
Ah, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, it might have been her very first match was against Io. And Io made her look really, really good, but Io
Hmm.
wasn't taking 2 point. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't. You never had any doubt of who was winning that match, and it wasn't like you never had any doubt because you know who the two players are. No,
Right.
no, no. You just never had any doubt when you're watching the match, like, oh, this girl's gonna get her ass beat.
Hmm.
I saw Saya have matches with these rookies, and she's like in jeopardy during the match, and I'm like, why? No, this is your biggest star.
Yeah.
She should be crushing these girls. She should be toying with them to the point of they don't have a chance, because if you're that dominant of a champion and you're beating all the major talent in the company, you shouldn't be struggling against that person.
Yeah.
There's no need for that. And I understand, like, you want to have her out there for a good enough period of time because you want the fans to feel like they got their money's worth from her. That's fine. Just
Right.
have her drag it out by being a prick and, like picking her opponent up and doing all that kind of stuff and just embarrassing them. But I feel like for somebody to be as dominant of a champion she has to show a little bit more dominance over the ham and eggers, to use the old Bobby the Brain Heenan you know uh, phrase there.
Yeah. Especially even with the idea of even her having, to squash somebody like a Emma Maishima or a Kikyo Furusawa, which,
It's not hurting them.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, I also don't necessarily see like the idea of having like your big champions on New Blood shows either, which, has happened occasionally throughout the history of New
Mm-hmm.
Blood shows, which, I mean, eh, but I just feel like it should be more reserved for the lower experience and younger talent. But I mean, I feel like they've done that 85% of the time. Um, I definitely. So we know also going to Micah with her return, which number one, pretty shocking. I mean, recovering from Tommy John's surgery, I honestly, I mean, that's incredible that she was ahead of schedule and she's going to be competing next Monday. And she pretty much lit a fire in the EXV. Like, y'all better win those artist trios titles, or there's gonna be hell to pay. Like, and I don't know, because when you really think about it, those titles are not defended as often as they used to be. It used to be pretty constant, especially
Yeah,
when My Hime Poi had them, or
yeah, yeah,
the original Cosmic Angels had them.
yeah.
So it's like this artist trios match coming up at Corcoran. I mean, I guess we could give a little prediction. You see that changing hands? I I kind of feel like there's a good chance that the titles change hands, just with the sense of urgency from Micah's call out.
uh I think it could happen. I think you then end up in another situation where we got another person with two belts, though. It goes from Konami having two to just switches over to Hanako, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, which is, it's fine. It's whatever. They're two of the lesser, and I mean, usually the artist titles. It always feels like a lot of the time somebody that's part of the team has another belt, and it's just a way of stacking something else onto them, so they can walk around with two titles. It feels like it's an afterthought a lot of the time. I enjoyed when you had teams like Mahime Poi or Cosmic Angels, where it was three of them, or you had, I don't know, teams that where it felt like truly a trios, that meant something as a trio, not just, hey, we're gonna just throw the belts on these three here. So because I think they can lead to really awesome matches.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so do I see them winning? Probably. And also I'm dreading it because I'm not the biggest Waka supporter in terms of matches and stuff like that. Once again, wonderful person, but I just
Mm-hmm.
her matches don't. She's turned into Taguchi light over here. It's everything is the butt stuff and her high pitch nails on a chalkboard voice combined with that. I'm just kind of like, please no. When I see her coming out now, it's just kind of that's my use the restroom break match if I need one. Rian has grown on me a lot. She has really
Nice.
stepped it up this past year. So I like Rian. If it was Rian, Hanako, and anybody else, I would probably be more into it. But I just kind of. The other thing is because Rian hasn't had that many high profile wins or wins at all,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's almost like you've got double underdogs on the team.
Makes
You got
sense.
Waka and her. So it's Hanako not carrying one person, it's carrying a team of three people practically,
Yeah.
is the way you kind of. So that's weird to me. Like it's a very, very weird. And it just speaks to the state of they need somebody else in that unit. And either that person coming into that unit needs to shove Rian and Waka further down the food chain a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or they need to decide if Waka is going to be the butt of the jokes of the group, but joke intended there,
Yeah.
or if she's going to get elevated and Rian's going to be the low person on the totem pole. Because right now it feels like they're kind of the same, right?
Uh-huh.
Neither one of them barely gets any wins. Like they went through that tournament, won no matches,
Yep. Went winless. 0 for 7.
but then now Flash Pin, which you and I both agreed was the way it was done was ridiculous, and then they're probably going to win the artist belts, like from
Yeah.
the team that is one of the hottest rising and best in ring people in the company in Rena. Your current Wonder of Stardom champion Konami, and then Fukigen, who's the wily veteran and whatever. And I mean Fukigen can take the pin, it's whatever. But
Yeah.
like I'm supposed to buy Hanako and them just because Micah came in and said you guys better do it, is going to beat that team, and then hang on to these belts for any period of time whatsoever.
The
I don't know.
the only thing that
I
I
don't
can
like it.
the only thing that I can account to is one, yeah, apparently out of nowhere now Waka is no selling finishers, which and just the fact that that match lasted 57 seconds. I'm not against the idea of Waka getting a flash pin. I mean, she's done it before. But really, after eating a finisher and just
Yeah.
like, oh no, I'll just roll you up anyway. Like,
And on the heels of 0 for 7. It's just, I don't know. I don't get it.
like,
It's another head scratcher booking moment where I'm just kind of like, you have this giant roster of people. So honestly, it almost makes it seem like the logical thing here would be the thing that you said,
mm-hmm.
where they lose and Micah dissolves the group. right?
You read my
Which
mind.
honestly, which honestly, I think that's what they should do, because I've been saying this since Mina left.
Hmm.
Why is this group called Empress Nexus Venus? Why is there this group that revolves around halfway around a person that doesn't exist to the company anymore?
Yeah. And honestly, that seems like the more suitable outcome when you think about it is the dissolution of E Nexus V. Because I mean, one thing, I don't know what's up, but it doesn't seem like Xana's coming back, even though I would have thought she would be cleared by now. But just overall, like Micah said, they really didn't do a good job of carrying the group without her. I mean, sure, okay,
You
sure,
know?
you had Hanako and Waka as New Blood Tag Champs, which I really just took that in the sense of, okay, shut up, everybody. We're going to just give Waka a title. There, you happy? Sort of
Yeah.
thing.
I was there live for that title change, and I hated it. You know
Oh,
my thoughts on
oh
that
yeah,
one.
that's right. You were.
I was upset. I was mad. I'm like, you literally had Tomoko, you know, and Hina
Yep,
right there,
that would have been
and they
us.
never ran that match. They could have had Tomoko and Hina versus Asuka, and Rina.
Yep,
Like it's a layup, And then it was like, no, rice and bread. And Hanako worked 80% of that match
yep,
fighting both of them, while Waka did pretty much nothing. It was not great.
yeah.
So
So,
so yeah. So yeah, I mean, Micah laying into them, it makes sense, but it's almost kind of like, it's funny looking at it because it's like, this unit sucks.
yeah,
It's it's Hanako, and then, for lack of better term, it's like Hanako and jobbers is what it is, and like Rian got that big win, pinning Rana the other
right.
day too. Like, it was good. Like, they're starting to elevate her slowly, like, and her in-ring stuff has gotten better, so it makes sense, right? But it's just kind of like, you got to slide Waka to that, just have her be the comedy act, the pin eater for the group or whatever. But you need more to that group if that's the case. They don't have much,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
that's a
don't
good
know who
point.
joins them. If you put another rookie in there, what do? It doesn't really change the dynamic at all. It's another new person. There needs to be somebody that went and joined that group of some sort of significance, some kind of mid tier.
Yeah, that's a good point too, which this kind of segues into so one more topic that I had, unless you want to throw another one in there, be my guest. Um so we know it's been confirmed. Of course, Micah having a return match the 8th. We also know it's been confirmed that we are going to get the returns of Matoy Hamambe and Ann Kanaya also on December 8th. And my question is, because I know we're pretty much, with this final month getting ready to close out the year, for those that are returning and for others that hopefully will return as soon as possible, the Starlight Kids, the Momo Watanabes, the Hanans. First part question, where could you see Emma Maishima, Kikyo Furusawa, Ann Kanaya, and Matoy Hamambe? What faction could you see them joining? That's my first part.
Mm-hmm.
And then second part is for those that are injured. Um, when do you think they return, and how do you think they return?
Okay.
So,
So, the when, I can't really speak to the when because I don't know how serious some of these things are. Like, I'm I'm hoping it's ASAP. You know what I mean? Like, I hope
mm-hmm.
it's a shocking, just like they're back before, because it sucks to the way my schedule has lined up and everything out here. Like, I'm probably gonna see more Stardom shows than anything else,
Oh,
and several of my favorites are missing. SLK, Momo, not being able to see them. Micah's coming back, so great. All right, got Micah back, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But losing those two hurt a lot because they're two of my favorites, and I wanted to see them on cards, and the cards are definitely suffer a little bit from them not being there. So
Agreed.
when they'll be back, I don't know. I feel like knowing my luck, it'll be like March. They'll come back like right after I'm gone. They'll turn up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as far as where do I see some of these other people landing? Like and one to say anything. When Momo comes back, I see it being status quo. I think they had the opportunity to do something there if they were going to do it, and they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she's just going to come back. She's going to fall right back into line with being in hate, and nothing interesting there with anything in regards to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
SLK, obviously, she'll just come back and Neogenesis it up, and back to the races there. So for the youngsters and stuff like that, um, they're all starting to come into their own a little bit more. Like in just a short time since we last did this, I was saying how Emma and Kikyo hadn't made any kind of impression upon me yet. Starting to like both of them a heck of a lot more already. I see them really, really going at it when they're given opportunities out there and trying really hard and stuff. And they're getting better in ring all the time. I think I would like to see Kikyo either in Mi Vida Loca or in Hate, but Hate has like a bajillion people.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Mi Vida Loca. But I also, once again, Mi Vida Loca, I really think they should turn up the nasty. And I don't know if they're going to. I think they are what they are. And that was a brief moment in time where they were framed that way and they could have went all in on it. And they, for whatever reason, the company did not. And I think that's a mistake. Um, but not to beat a dead horse there. Micah, I think, does need to dissolve um, that group.
Oh, Nexus V.
I don't know
Yes.
what that means for the people in it. I think she needs to keep Hanako
Mm-hmm.
and build around that and come up with a new name, something that is just, whether it's an empire or something, whatever it is, something that builds off of Micah's whole aesthetic, the queendom, something, right?
Mm-hmm.
It sounds too similar to Queen's Quest, but something, that just embodies her or a new path forward of some sort, right?
Yeah.
And if we get that group, I would like to see Matoy in that group. I was very, very high on her when she got hurt.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She's a little badass, and I'm very happy that she's coming back. So I'm excited for that. And was that leave Emma? I think Emma is Cosmic Angels coded.
Interesting. Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think she's Cosmic Angels coded. Also, I think she needs to join Cosmic Angels because they need a pin eater. And Yuna's gotten elevated,
Mm-hmm.
and Sakurara are, they got the rocket strap to them.
Yep.
So who's taking your pins in that group, right? So you need somebody. So Emma, I think that's where she lands.
Okay. Good. Wow. Really good breakdown. That's it's hard to compete with. Um, I'll say this. Uh, so starting with the rookies. With Anne, personally, I'm thinking stars for Anne Kanaya.
Yeah, I
Um,
forgot her, and yes, 100%.
yeah, I just feel like with her charisma and just with her gimmick, I just feel like she fits in stars the most. And they could use another member. Although I honestly thought Yuria Hime was going to be aimed more towards E Nexus V, but she's in stars, so yeah, that's interesting. Um, for Matoy, I know originally before she got hurt, she was gunning to join God's Eye, but to be honest, I mean, God's Eye's pretty stacked. Unless they have some plans for another betrayal, which I don't think is anytime soon. Matoy, the idea of, I guess maybe maybe a Neogen or maybe even a Mi Vida Loca. But when it comes to that, I feel like Kikyo would fit better with Mi Vida Loca. Um, and she could be, you know, their other submission specialists alongside Akira. I think they could do something with that. Um, as far as the veterans, I do think definitely one of those will return at Dream Queendom for a segment. Um, I'm leaning more towards Momo returning for a segment, but I could see uh, Starlight Kid being that. Um, Hanan, I do think that Hanan will at least be back in time before the Cinderella tournament, and probably borderline Supreme Fight in Osaka, but I'm not gonna hold my breath because from the sounds of it, it does sound serious.
Oh, really? Okay.
So
I just feel like it I feel like that the way they were setting things up, like they thought she was coming back sooner. Just because of this whole Ida adjacency to with the Konami situation and everything. Like I really
I
feel like
hope
it was all
so.
leading into I really feel like it was all leading into Anon, which she's not my pick to be the one to dethrone Konami, but if I was booking, but I like Hanan. I like her a lot. I just don't think I don't think she's as good as her sisters.
Yeah, and that's definitely arguable considering how far. I mean, you look at how far Rena has come, and even how far Hina has come. So definitely, that's a fair argument for sure. And really, I'm really hoping that they can really come out strong leading up to Dream Queendom and at least put on a solid card. Because I know tickets have sold well. Like tickets have sold well. But right now the strength of the card is very weak. And the anticipation level from what I've heard is kind of like up and down. But I mean, December's here. So they're really going to have to hit on all cylinders for this. And do I believe they can? Well, maybe. I'm hopeful. But hey, you'll be there. So, I mean, it's one of those things where I hope that it works out. I really do. But oh, shoot. Oh, I just lost him. Let's see if I can get him back in here. Yeah, it looks like he lost connection. Um, which I mean, we're pretty much near the. Oh, there he is. Ah, he's back.
Sorry, man, crapped out there. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, no worries. What I was saying though was, it seemed like tickets have sold well for Dream Queendom, and I don't know how big the hype level is, but the the booking has been very weak leading up to this to Dream Queendom so far. So I'm just hoping that they can hit on all cylinders now that December's here. I'm hopeful, maybe.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
I hope so. I
you'll
mean,
you'll
their
be there.
tickets.
So
Yeah, I mean, dude, most expensive ticket for me this trip. I'm front row for that thing, so I hope the show delivers. It's been my favorite show I've been at. The past 2 years. So I just hope third time is also the charm and it continues. But just so far right now, I'm a little underwhelmed on it. Like I'll be excited the day of, but like what are we getting? Because if they fill this thing with like multi-person matches, it's really going to be a letdown. Like this is one of your biggest shows, if not your biggest show of the year. What are we doing? You know, Wrestle Kingdom, same boat. They're very much leaning on this Tana retirement, and then they did the Suji Takeshita thing, but Takeshita hasn't even been around to build the match.
Yep, that's true.
So it's like, what the hell, what's going on there? Tag League is going on right now, and hopefully we get some stories coming out of that. They made a 4-way junior match that doesn't even have the junior championship in it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's weird.
yeah. So like, there's people talking about like maybe something happens and one of those guys pins Doki between now and then, and they force Doki into the match instead of Show. Or it's Doki, they're setting up Doki versus Romu or something like that. Um, Somehow, somewhere we get there. I don't know. Like, I guess, sure, but there's just not a lot on paper. The cards are not there yet. And
Yeah.
once again, with Wrestle Kingdom, they're putting a lot of this behind Tana's retirement.
Yep.
Um, and you can do that there. But with Dream Queendom, you don't have that moment. So
Right.
with not having that moment, you would think you've got to have a few more things built up, something. Because I'm sitting here and that show is 28 days out
Yep.
and we've got one match announced.
Yep.
That's bonkers.
And
Like,
and the crazy
I
thing
gotta feel
is,
like we knew a lot more of the card last year by this point. Oh no, two matches announced,
oh
I
yeah.
guess, because the tag titles, yeah.
And so far, according to their listings, the only tickets that are left available are standing B, standing C, and wheelchair seats. Everything else is
Yeah.
sold out.
Yeah. So, the danger with that when you're a promoter too, right, is like you can rest on your laurels and you can look and say, well, we've already sold, all these tickets, so we don't need to go too crazy, right? Because everything's, uh, you know, we're already sold out. So whatever we put, the people are still showing up.
Right.
And I've seen companies do that. And the danger with that is, well, yeah, you got them there this time. But if you don't deliver, and they go, well, this was their biggest show, and I went and I didn't feel like I got my money's worth for that ticket. I saw, yeah, the big star and whatever, but like a lot of these other matches didn't have any kind of stakes to them or anything, and didn't feel like there was a reason for those matches to be happening. And then they don't come back for the next show. Like it doesn't. You want those big packed houses at these pay-per-views to bleed into then filling up your house shows and subscriptions, your subscription service,
Hmm.
and people walking out of there so euphoric from having seen this big event that they went to that delivered so much that now they go spend a bunch of money on merch on the way out the door, right?
Hmm.
And I don't know. I'm not seeing anything that's, you know, over the top exciting about the card at all right now because you gave away the tag match. You just had it. So just having the
Yep.
match again. And the other match feels like a foregone conclusion.
Yep.
So yeah, and this is my favorite company. So this is not me coming on here being like, oh yeah, like Stardom sucks. I hate Stardom, and like let me pick apart all the stuff in Stardom. No, it's literally like this is my absolute favorite company. I'm genuinely 99% pleased when I go to shows. And so far I got out here and I don't know, I went to these 3 shows and every one of them underwhelmed me. And Dream Queendom doesn't have a card yet. So
I do hope it
I
works out for you, considering
yeah,
your.
it just feels like lazy booking. It feels like, hey, we got Kamatani. Nothing
Yeah.
else matters.
Yeah. I'm hoping, considering you got front row, that it turns out
Yeah.
to be a good show. Because I had fun at Dream Queendom
Yeah.
2024. So, yeah. But, okay. Was there any other topics you want to throw out there?
Nothing. Nothing really, nothing I could think of. Nothing burning. I think we covered pretty much all the Stardom news and everything. I can't think of anything else.
Well, the road to Dream Queendom has begun. Don't know if it's going to be a bumpy road or, a very long road, but December is here. Guess we will see how it plays out. But it looks like the start, December 8th, at Corcoran Hall. We'll see how that goes. We got one more New Blood show, Christmas Day. And yeah, we'll see how things go. Um, while I got you on here, any plug in any socials, any PSAs, any ads, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, plug the website and everything last time, but like now, especially I'm out here in Japan. If you guys are into wrestling stuff, and obviously you are if you're watching this, otherwise why would you sit through it, right? Um, but if you follow the non-toxic nerd culture Instagram account, I am going to try to post up a bunch of stuff from shows on there and news and things as it happens out here. Be a lot of other otaku related content on there too. A lot of cosplay stuff, things that are not necessarily from Japan that are taking from our other arm of the business, Art by Quentin, while the Everybody Does show is in my absence. But things from Japan is mainly what you're going to get a lot of in that channel, both the figure hunting variety, wrestling shows, food, and who knows, whatever else, maybe Universal Studios, some other things, depending on where I go, where the journey takes me, shall I say. So yeah, that is
Excellent.
non-toxic nerd culture on Instagram.
Definitely check it out. And, as I've said before, I've gotten a chance to uh, join Brian before for some of these shows. Late last year, going into early this year, had a lot of blast. Had a blast and had a lot of fun, especially when we hung out in Harajuku as well. And I still really enjoyed when we went to Pile Driver. And
I was just gonna bring that up. Um, it was like watching kids at Christmas at the you guys' reaction, when Hiroyo was in there and then Suzuki comes out and everything. I was able to get that same experience the year before, bringing Jarrett and our other buddy Sai there for the first time, and they met Suzuki and everything. And I love doing stuff like that. It's paying it forward for me because when I came out for the first time, I had friends that had been to Japan before that helped me and showed me around. So now that's one of the greatest joys I get of going on these trips is meeting people and then saying like, "Hey, man, have you been to this place? Do you know where this is? Here, let me show you." And so they can show somebody else down the road.
oh, absolutely. I had such a blast. And just, it was so funny considering the first time I saw Hiroyo was in North Carolina. And then to turn around and get a chance to see her in her home country was just crazy. And then just, being able to shop, scored a couple of shirts. And it was just funny afterwards. She's like, "So, you want a picture?" I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, and then visiting, getting a chance to go to Natsubar was a huge highlight for me. And
Yeah, I wish
just
I could have joined you guys for those other nights, man. That was when I got stupid sick and I didn't want to put that on to anybody else, so I had to convalesce for a couple of days.
so we definitely got to put that on the list,
Oh yeah.
for a future trip,
Oh
cuz yeah,
oh yeah.
like
Big time.
indeed. But thank you so much for joining for another live stream.
Hey, anytime. Anytime. I'd love to make this a regular thing, man. So yeah, I love it.
Indeed, and of course, we'll be in touch, and there will definitely be more, so you won't have to
Yeah.
worry about that. But thank everybody for coming out and joining for this live stream. And like I said, y'all, stay in touch. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. Be sure to check out Brian's channel on Instagram. And thank y'all so much for all the support, especially the Joshi community. Let's keep it strong. There's much to see. It's only going to get better from here. Stay with it. But thank y'all so much for this live pro wrestling talk brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming. I'm Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. That's the Chase Danger. Brian, we will see y'all in the next video and our live stream. Take care. Sayonara.